welcome to the shredder. The shredder is a concept about 9 years in the making. It started out as a close quarter combat tool which consisted of short strikes, short shots thrown on a half beat. But in the last 9 years, especially in the last 3 years, it's evolved tremendously. The more I worked with this concept, the more we refined it, the more we developed it, the more I realized many, many different things about it. And the beautiful thing about it is that the shredder is not really based on a physical technique anymore. What I found out as we worked with it is a behaviorally and scientifically rooted concept. It works on your opponent's psyche. And it's not really about the punch or the elbow or the eye gouge or the headbutt. It's a lot more than that. Before I go on with the tape, actually, what I would like to ask you is, if you have not yet read the manual that accompanies this tape, please do so before watching the tape. It's important. The manual consists of all the theoretical applications of the shredder, the origins of it. So I don't want to really rehash everything that is in the manual on this tape, although there will be parallels, but there might be a lot of stuff in the tape that you might not get right away unless you read the manual first. So please do so. If you have read the manual, then we can continue. So basically what we're going to be covering today is some drills with the shredder and all of the stuff that accompanies it, the footwork, the close quarter combat applications. It's also important to understand that the shredder is not the end-all and be-all. A lot of people are looking at it and they're thinking like it's the Millennium's new straight blast, or it's comparable to the rat system, or it's comparable to eagle claw kung fu or whatever. It really isn't. I mean, it is and it isn't, because you might find a lot of physical applications from the shredder that are found in many other systems, like a claw or an elbow or an eye gouge or a rake or a headbutt. But it's not so much about that. It's how to actually lure your opponent into that range. And the beautiful thing about it is that once contact is actually made between you and an opponent, the shredder can be unleashed. However, there are certain things that come with it. Anchoring, for example. When I talk about anchoring, I refer to it as it's also referred to as trapping. Now, trapping isn't so much quick, flashy hand stuff that you might find in Wing Chun systems or certain JKD systems. I just simply look at trapping as the immobilization of one or more of your opponent's limbs in order to create as much damage as possible. It also offers a very close tactile sense. You can interpret your opponent's energy quite easily through that. I'm going to give you a quick explanation of that. Nick, can you come here a second? Is that the shredder is not a tool that can be used outside of the close quarter range. Okay? So let's say if Nick was starting something with me and he was at this distance here, I cannot launch the shredder from here. And this is where a lot of people mistake in this tool, where they think that because it does work so well that they automatically want to jump to it, but the shredder needs a delivery system. And without the other ranges, without understanding footwork, kicking, boxing, close quarter combat, grappling, ground fighting, so on and so forth, without understanding the delivery system behind it, it's not applicable. I cannot stand over here and all of a sudden try and go and shred Nick. It's just not going to work. Now, what the shredder does is it bypasses your opponent's reflexive response. It bypasses his flinch mechanism. It bypasses cognitive processing. It creates instant panic in your opponent. Why? Because you're attacking very vital targets savagely and fearfully, and automatically the person, all they want to do is defend. So it actually does switch the predator-prey mentality almost instantaneously. And the beautiful thing about it is that most striking combinations like elbows, punching, uppercutting, headbutting, kneeing, so on and so forth, requires torque, requires a certain level of distancing, and requires grounding in order to be effective. And this is why grapplers are wiping the floor with most strikers, because once you're into the clinch here and your opponent is trying to take you down or whatever, you don't have access to these strikes. You really need to break free. I don't have, if Nick was putting a bit more energy on me here, I really don't have the leverage to throw an elbow to cause any kind of damage. Why? Because at this range, at this extreme close range, the grappling range, you can grapple standing up, because I can start to struggle and look for takedowns, underhooks, overhooks, going for the hip toss or whatever. But at this range, I can't cause damage striking. And this is why grapplers always surpass strikers once they've entered the clinch. And this is what makes the clinch such a formidable range or place to be in. Because from here, I can't land a solid punch, I can't land a solid uppercut, I can't elbow, I can't really knee, because he'll negate all that. And as this is happening, if the energy continues, he's also disrupting and disturbing my grounding. Because if energy is really present here, I'm backing up and I'm trying to brace myself. At the same time that I'm trying to do that, I'm trying to apply damage on my opponent. So what happens is that inevitably, yes, you hit the ground. And inevitably, the grappler will establish a position and go for a submission. Now, even if we were extreme close range like so, let's say we clinched here, and Nick is trying to take me down. Now, this is where the shredder comes in, because whether I have grounding or not, whether I have torque or not, I can create incredible amount of damage. Now, the shredder works like it travels across your opponent's limbs and face and head area, and also works with the lower portion of the body when applicable. You've got to understand is that most people apply the wrong tools at the wrong time. I can't headbutt from here, yet people will try to do something like this. I can't really elbow from here. You see people doing this. I don't have anything here. First of all, the elbow is a fine motor skill at close range, which means that if I actually try to hit Nick here, the only way I create any kind of damage or hurt him is if I actually anchor or angle my shoulder off in order to actually hit him with the point of the elbow. Now this is fine and dandy in a theoretical application like this one, because Nick isn't giving me any energy, and I don't really feel threatened or in danger here. And so all of a sudden, if there's real energy, and he's trying to take me down and doing this, now if I'm trying to elbow him here, what happens is that gross motor skill makes me do this. And what I'm doing here is when I'm hammering them this way, I'm only hitting him with the flat part of my tricep. The blade of the elbow isn't really making contact. In order for it to make contact, I've got to shift my shoulder. But because, due to the adrenal stress condition phase, due to fine motor skill going out the window, you're not going to think of that. So you end up hammering the person with the flat part of the arm. And so you're creating really no pain. And even if you got the sense of spirit to hammer him this way, using the blade of the elbow, yes, it will hurt. But that sort of pain, he won't even feel it in an adrenal situation. It's not going to stop him from doing the takedown. It's not going to stop him from picking you up and ramming you through the floor. Okay? But if I am at an extreme close quarter range over here, I have access to very, very soft tissue. Now, as long as I don't require torque, for instance, if I grabbed his ear and I just ripped into it, this is his reaction. I'm not really pulling hard, but look at his face. Are you okay, Nick? This is excruciating. So no matter if he's going full force, if I pull hard enough, and he resists, I'm going to rip that fucker right off. I'm going to tear that ear off his head. And it takes about 8 pounds of pressure, really, to rip an ear off. But I'm not going to stop there, you see. I'm not going to rip the ear off and then hope that the fight is over. The shredder is a continuous process. So as I rip the ear off here, I'd go right into his eyes, right here, and gouge right away. Now I would bury my fingers 3-4 inches into his skull if I had to. You also have to remember that force must parallel danger. It's very important to understand that. So depending on the gravity of the situation, you can play with the amount of energy that you actually put behind the shredder. Because even in simulation, it's a tool that works because it's so invasive and disruptive that a person can't actually continue their motion, because just doing this is annoying. I'm not even ripping his eyes out or busting his nose or anything, but my hand in his face is so invasive that one of the drills I usually do with people is I usually pick the biggest, strongest guy in the room, and I'll ask him, take me down as hard and as fast as you can. I don't even shred him for real. I put my hand in their face, and I just do this, and it's almost impossible. They freeze up, and all they want to do is get the hand off their face. Now you can imagine if I'm actually grabbing the ear, sticking my thumb in his eyeball, pushing it in 3/4, smashing into his nose, raking, cranking the neck. Now look at what my hands are doing here, and look at his position. I've just established chest to back, and I didn't lift my hand off his face. Now I don't stop here. Now here, my pinky over here, because it's simulation, I'm not really digging it or clawing it into Nick's eyeball, but realistically I would. right? Now if I want to continue, my hand is not going to do this to strike him. I'm not going to cock back and elbow him this way. If I want to elbow him from here, I'll just release a forearm elbow here, and I'll continue mashing into his throat, into his eyes, into his face. The one thing that is not applicable, that you do not do in the shredder, is put your hands in your opponent's mouth. You never really want to do that. Fish hooking, although it is functional to a degree and excruciating and painful, is too dangerous to try and apply, just because if you actually get your finger in your opponent's mouth, if he bites down, you lost it. This actually happened to a student I know. One of our students got into a fight, actually it's a friend of Nick's, in a club, and by mistake the other guy stuck his hand in my student's mouth. My student bit half his finger off. It's gross, it's disgusting. The guy freaked and he panicked. Never stick your hands or your fingers in your opponent's mouth. Travel across the face as you're creating damage, and as you're doing this, now footwork comes into play, biomechanics come into play, into twisting and pulling and ripping and tearing and striking, but you never ever disconnect. Now we were talking and explaining about the quarter beat. The difference is on the half beat, when you strike there's a half beat. So if I strike one, that's a jab. Now if I want to strike on the half beat, as my hand comes back, this is and, this would be the half beat. So I do one, and I land my cross. That's a half beat. The thing about the half beat, although it's a great concept, it still offers your partner or your opponent the ability to reflexively defend themselves. Meaning not so much strike back, but just getting their hands up and flinching or ducking or moving, or just any type of spontaneous attempt at getting away will cause the half-beat strikes to miss. Meaning if I go one and I land, let's say I landed and I go boom. Now on my half-beat here, he's going to flinch, his hands come up. So if his hands come up, I just missed, right? You can actually look at that from a more familiar perspective. For those of you who train in combat systems, if you go down on the ground for a second, Nick, let's say I'm going to mount you, right? Okay, so let's say I'm mounted on Nick, right? Now you've got the very familiar ground and pound. It's a great tool. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It really does work. But at the same time, it offers your opponent or your partner a 50 to 60% chance at getting away from it. I mean, it's happened so many times in the no-holds-barred tournaments. Not every single ground and pound functions all the time. Now, if this was a ground and pound, if I'm cocking up and I'm landing my fists here, and let's say I'm hitting him, what he's doing is if I'm hitting on the half beat, meaning as I retract this fist, the other one comes down on the half beat. His hands come up, they flinch. His head turns away. So now his hands are up, so if I'm actually landing here, I might be landing 30–40% of my shots, right? And at the same time I'm doing this, what I might be doing is also smashing my knuckles onto the top of his head, possibly, okay? Because he's lifting his head, and if he's protecting himself, I might bust my hand. I might not. I don't know. It's a chance that in real life you don't want to take. If I had the choice, if somebody told me, hey, here's a tool where even 30% of the time, here's a tool that 30% of the time, if you use it, you might break your knuckles in your hand. Here's a tool that if you use it 100% of the time, you'll never hurt your hands. Which one would you logically pick or take? It's just a matter of logic, taking over. So I'm not going to pick the tool that actually might bust my hands. So if I'm doing this, what happens is that the fight or flight syndrome kicks in. Reflexively speaking, what Nick is doing is he's not cognitively now processing, oh shit, punches are coming, parry this one to the left, bypass. It's almost impossible. It's way too fast. If somebody's raining punches on you, he's not thinking now. He's just instinctively trying to protect himself. That's it, that's all. There's no thought process, okay? But his hands coming up offers me maybe 50% success rate with landing my shots. I might be thinking, yeah, well, 50% is pretty good because if I land 2 or 3, well, they're going to be pretty solid. Yes, that's correct also. I'm not saying this is no good. I'm not saying this doesn't have its place. All I'm saying is that the shredder bypasses all of that. And it guarantees your success rate at landing every single one of your tools or strikes, if you will. So if I'm here, rather than going ground and pound, if my hands actually travel into his face like so, now I lock onto his face. Now all I'm going to do from here is let's say I dig my thumbs into his eyes, or I rip into his ears. Okay? Now, what I want to do from here is strike him again. The half beat says, up and nail him. Now you see his reflexive response. He's already started moving, right? But the quarter beat says, I'm going to slide my thumb into his eyes. Okay, now Nick, don't let me do my next move, okay? Don't let me, whatever I'm going to do. Okay. Then I'm going to decide to palm strike him. Did you stop me? No. Now I'm going to rip into his face and rake across. Did you stop me? No. Now I'm going to grab his hair here and hammer his head on the floor and go wham, one time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to palm him again, one time here. Now I'm going to rake again. Now I'm going to palm again, I'm going to hit, and I'm going to elbow, and I'm going to just keep tearing away at this shit, okay? And I don't stop. Are you okay? Yeah. Now this is, I mean, I'm not really hitting him here. How do you feel? It's horrible. As we state in as it's stated in the book, and time again, I also mentioned this on the website, it's a horrible sensation even in simulation because it's so uncomfortable, invasive, and disruptive that even in simulation, the person wants no part of it, and I'm really sorry. But okay? So you see what I'm doing here is I'm mangling into his face. If I'm here and I gouge him, now it's very easy for somebody to say, yeah, well, he can buck and roll and whatever. It's very hard to buck and roll somebody if fingers about this deep entered your skull, right? Now I'm not stopping here. Now, a lot of people go, well, eye gouges aren't a guarantee to stop people. I agree, they're not. There are no guarantees to a degree. But if the onslaught is continuous, then the predator-prey shift occurs, and there's nothing he can do. And what it is that the shredder does not permit your opponent in any way, shape, or form to regroup, not even for a fraction of a second, in order to be able to retaliate or defensively or reflexively flinch and jam or stop or bypass one of your attacks. You can't. If I'm here, even if he grabs my hand and my arm, I have another one. So I'm hammering here and I'm ripping. He might be pulling this arm away from me, but this one is still working him over. So it doesn't stop, right? So I'm gouging. And when I say about a palm strike, if I want to palm strike him from here, I don't do this. Because this, reflexively, what would you do, Nick? I do this, the arm comes up. Even if he's doesn't have a sense of spirit, he might still just do this, where it's not a proper jam, but his hands might just come up and I might miss. So what I would do instead is from the eye gouge here, I'll open my hand just a bit. Here's the quarter beat. Half beat, quarter beat. You feel that? I just snapped his teeth. That was the lightest fucking shot. I barely touched him. But this is, I weigh 175 pounds. This is 175 pounds of pressure lifting up and going right under his jaw, and then I rip again. Now, other parts of the shredder, if let's say I rake him and he grabs my hand, and this hand isn't quick enough to get in, my mouth, I'll spit. Why? Because, sorry, your head just hit the floor. Yeah, that's okay. Because as I do this, the spit is also part of the shredding, because if I rip into your face and you think that for a fraction of a second you'll be able to do something and my hands aren't there anymore, I'll spit in your face or somebody spits in your face, that's distractive. You're going to want to flinch again. So all I'm doing really is continuously bypassing his flinch mechanism. The second your partner or your opponent feels that one hand has moved and he feels, oh fuck, and he wants some kind of liberation, the other hand is there. Now what I'm doing is I'm crushing his throat and I'm hammering him in the eyes now. The shredder also works with the lower body. It's continuous. I don't stop. So let's say you got a full view here. So if I'm ripping into his face here and his hands are coming up and I go, oh yeah, I can also nail the bottom. So now up comes the knee into the leg. Up comes the knee into the leg. So the nervous system has to deal with what's going on up here, and all of a sudden it's shooting down here and it's going, holy shit. Now I can step in and go for a choke, right? But the choke, technically, first of all, you got to lock him in perfectly, okay? Because if you're doing it semi-strangulation-wise, which is like this, my forearm across his throat, that takes a while. Strangulation takes a long time to occur. And at the same time, if you do actually manage to strangle your opponent, you may kill him. And you don't want to kill somebody in a real fight. I mean, unless you have absolutely no choice, right? So this will take a long time. Now, in order to actually align the rear naked choke, the elbow has to be aligned with the chin. Both carotids have to be blocked. Not a bad thing. But the actual choke, and you can test it out for yourselves, those of you who grapple, you know this. It takes about 7 to 10 to 12 seconds before the choke takes full effect, right? This 7 seconds, even if it took 5 seconds in a real fight is really, really long. it feels like a decade. So I don't want to get into a struggling match. So even if I do end up getting my opponent into a choke, I still want to shred. Because the choke is also a part of my shred. Any tool that you possess in your already existing arsenal is part of the shred, as long as you incorporate the 5 principles of physical retaliation. As long as you incorporate the proper mechanics and the proper tools at the proper time. So if I'm here and I'm choking him out as part of the shred, this hand will be raking across, busting his nose, smacking into it here. Now I can slip in, pull his hair, knee him over here. At the same time, yeah, I'll apply the choke. And I'll choke him out as I rake and pull and grab into his eyes and headbutt and spit and bite and whatever it is I'm doing. Biting is also a part of the shred. You okay, Nick? I know I'm massacring you. Biting is also important, but again, a couple of things. A lot of people say, especially grapplers, if you bite me, I'll kill you. If you bite me, I'll get more angry. Yeah, that's if you're in a clinch here, and all I go, and I stop and do nothing. The bite is not the end-all and be-all. Not one single actual tool within the entire shred is the end-all and be-all. It's the repetitiveness that terminates. That's what it is that if I bite, I know that I'm creating a flinch. So if I'm here and he's grabbing my arm, let's say he's grabbing my arm underneath his armpit here, right? And he's got my locked in a wrap. And I can't do shit here, right? And I can't really reach the shred here because I can't reach any vital targets. Yes, I can grab his hair, but let's assume that Nick was bald and there was no hair to grab and his shirt is cut, so I can't even pull here. I don't really have access to punching because there's no way I can land a solid punch when there's this kind of energy. There's nothing I can do. I can go for the knees, but if he's actually putting any kind of forward momentum on me, there's no way I'm kneeing him. So we might end up pinned against the wall or whatever. But I know that regardless what happens, if we're in this position, he's grabbing my arm real tight, I know that if I come down here and I take a chunk, he'll flinch. That's all I want. I'm not saying bite, game over, it's over, he's dead, it's finished, whatever. I'm just going to, if I'm here, that's the flinch. I just bit him, he reacted. That's all I'm looking for. But look at the position he's in now from the bite. Look at the freedom my hand just got. So if I'm actually here and I can't reach or do anything, but now I'm here, what did I do? I bit, quarter beat, went right into the shred. I didn't stop. I didn't give him a time to go, oh, well now I'm going to be angry because you bit me and I'm going to fucking kill you. Yes, you would if I did nothing afterwards. Same thing with the spit, same thing with the pinch. If I decide to fucking grab meat here around his nipple, twist it, squeeze it, and then I step in and I rip his fucking face off, look at the position he's in and look at the damage I'm causing and look at the position I'm in. I'm completely grounded and at the same time I can maintain environmental and situational awareness where I can turn around and go, fuck, do you have friends around here, you little fuck-ass? And as I'm doing this, I'm ripping shit out. I can claw into the nose. If I grab the nose here and I rip really hard going upwards and hit, and popping an eyeball at the same time, wow, it's absolutely devastating. Again, I'm here. I want to elbow. Most people do this. Look at the flinch. His hand came up right away. But if I'm here and I go elbow, there's nothing he can do to stop me because all I'm doing is I'm releasing from here the elbow. Not too much power, but watch. Tell me how this feels.
I felt the one before.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's a barely a pop. But if I go wham and I nail him, now I'm ripping in here. Look at this position of his neck. The shred continues. I see his balls. They're available. Do I do this? No. I just go wham, right there. I slide down and nail him in the groin. Now he's here. I come right back up. Control the head. Now if I want to disconnect, I can elbow him, pull his hair, headbutt him, whatever, and I can disconnect off my opponent easily. And if I have anybody else to deal with, well, I'm up, or if I can run, I run. You okay?
Yeah, fine.
So basically, how you can work it is a basic drill, tool and target development drill with the shredder. Very simply, is this. And it's also important and crucial to understand that as your training partner, if you're working this with somebody, they have to simulate it as if it was really happening. Because if, let's say I'm shredding Nick, and I'm simulating, I'm not really ripping his ear off, I'm not really digging into his eyes, lifting, tearing his nose off, elbowing him, headbutting, spitting, I'm not really doing all this now, right? All I'm doing is simulating. Now if Nick decides to resist, that's going to automatically make me go, oh fuck, I got to go a little harder. Now, if you go a little bit harder with the shredder, you're going to hurt your partner. You don't want to do that. So it's important that what Nick does is he goes, oh wow, if this was real, and you can feel it, believe me, you feel it. I mean, just the simulated shred is uncomfortable enough, and you can actually control an entire situation depending on the level of aggression and circumstances around it just by a simulated shred. It's that powerful a tool. Now, if I want to work it, Nick will replicate the actual mechanics of getting struck the way I'm doing it. So if I'm standing here and it doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, the shred needs an entry level. It's an extreme close quarter tool. I cannot shred from here. If I find myself at this level here and my opponent's squared off for whatever reason, distance has been made, I've got to resort to my other tools. I've got to resort to my kicking. I've got to resort to my boxing. I've got to resort to entering, to clinching, to grappling. I need those tools. You cannot do without them. They are the delivery system to enter the shred. But once I'm in, once contact is made, the shred occurs. So if I'm out here and I've broken distance and Nick decides to do whatever, and he's coming in with something, I nailed him here. Now once I'm in here, I end up in this position, the shred happens. I don't want to resort to, hook punching him or elbowing him here, because for the most part, it's not going to work. It could work, but I need torque. Torque requires a bit of distance and hip rotation. It's simple biomechanics. Hip rotation and torque requires time, a half beat. That half beat is a crucial moment that will allow my partner or my opponent a moment in time, that little half beat of time, to flinch, move, deflect, whatever. If I land the blow, it might not be 100%. So let's say I wanted to step back to elbow him here. It could work. I'm not saying it won't. It could work. It might even have a very high success rate of working. That's 80%. But I would much rather have something that's 100%. Because I can step off and do this and create a lot of pain, or I can do this and create much more damage. And the beautiful thing about the shredder is a lot of people also look at that and go, well, you can't apply it in multiple attacker situation. Hogwash, man. It's amazing in a multiple attacker situation. The last thing you want to do in a multiple attacker situation is square off and trade blows. Come here a second, Lee. If I'm dealing with two people, now you got to go wide angle, Helen.
Yeah.
If I'm dealing with two people, and let's say there's a circle over here, and you guys are coming at me, right? If I'm dealing with two people, the last thing I want to do is go whack, and get into a fucking fight, and then have to deal with two guys squaring off, throwing jabs, crosses, knees, elbows, whatever. Because that strike I just landed on Nick, if it wasn't dynamic and direct to the point, and I'm saying if it wasn't directly into the throat, that'll buy me a good 5 seconds to deal with Lee, I'm screwed. I'm dealing with a 2-on-1, they're going to swarm on me. Because unlike movies, in a multiple attacker situation, people don't wait their turn. You fucking, and that's it. It's like a swarm of people on you. But the shredder is a beautiful thing, because what it does is it maintains damage on one person, while at the same time uses him as a shield. If I'm using him as a shield, this person is going to be a lot more weary about trying to strike me, because he doesn't want to hurt his partner at the same time, right? So if I'm actually talking to these guys, and actually let's decide who's going to attack me. I don't give a fuck. Okay, so I turn around and decide who. Come at me full speed, guys. All right, good. Okay? So if I'm talking, I'm going, hey guys, what's up? How can I help you?
What the fuck you looking at, bitch?
So I'm going to start to shred Lee here. So Nick is having a hard time actually getting to me, because now he can't hit Lee. Are you okay? Yeah. So what's going on? I don't even know what I did. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So what's going on is that he came in, and I ended up just taking him here. Now all I'm doing is I went directly into the shred. Right? So if I'm over here, come over here a second, Lee, and Nick was there, I'd go directly into the shred. I start mangling his face here. So what I'm doing really is, as I'm doing my work, I'm ripping into the ear, I'm ripping into the eyes, I'm palming him, I'm causing an extreme amount of damage, and it's quite feral, because I'm tearing away at vital soft spots. If your opponent can't see, he can't fight. He might not be hurt, he could be jacked on drugs, but if I stick him in the eyes, even if he's really angry, let's say, Lee, I just ripped your fucking eyes out, and it didn't do anything to you except for the fact that you can't see. How are you going to find me? You know what I mean? That's by the sound of my voice. So he could be one pissed off blind motherfucker going, you're a fucking asshole, come on. Great. Doesn't matter to me. So I will still go after this. Now if I'm shredding him here, stay where you are for a second. If I'm shredding him here, Nick is coming along to get me. So I shred. I'm shredding. I'm creating damage. There's no way he's hitting me now. He actually hit his partner. Okay? Then I disconnect. This guy's fucked. He's not gonna, you know what I mean? I just turned a 2-on-1 into a 1-on-1. You can see a lot more of this stuff, not necessarily incorporating the shredder in full detail, but you can actually get into the entire psychology of multiple opponents, so on and so forth, in our outnumbered but not outgunned tape. But basically speaking, again, now if he's throwing this punch over here, I can't jam over here and start shredding because he's here. This is where footwork comes in. You don't have footwork, you're screwed. I could be an amazing shredder, but as I'm shredding him, this guy's going to fuck me. Right? So I can't take that risk. So if I'm talking here, now what I did is I didn't know who was going to attack me, but I will always lead in a multiple attacker situation towards one opponent or the other. I decided to move with lead. So that'll make somebody telegraph. So if I'm going here, I rely on the passive stance strategy to protect me. Okay? Because your passive stance is your prime source of defense. It completely protects your center line. It allows for maximum tool and target development use. If I'm here and he doesn't think I'm going to strike him, if I choose to, I can go preemptive anytime. You can go preemptive with the shredder, right? So if I'm just talking to him here and I feel, okay, this situation is escalating and I feel that there's nothing I can do, I've got to go preemptive. So if I'm here and he's coming up to me and I'm going, hey man, I step in, I'm just going to right into the shred right away. Right? So I'll palm him. Now again, this was simulation. I trap him and I'll just start to work him over and shred him and just finish the fight here and I'm off. I can use it as a preemptive strike. It's up to you what you do with it. Okay? The tools that you use are also entirely up to you as long as you use them properly. As we've stated before, there's a chess champion that said the height of strategy is not in doing your best move, but rather doing the worst move for your opponent. That means you can have a great right hand, a beautiful cross that knocks people out all the time, where you're like, boom, and they drop. But if he ended up clinching and I'm here, my right hand is useless. I can't force it. And I can't force the range to make it happen. And realistically speaking, you've got people who say that 90% of street fights end up on the ground. Doesn't matter. 99 or 100% of them start up standing up. Doesn't matter. The second contact is made. And I'm talking about close quarter contact. And this is the beautiful thing about the shredder, when I talk about it's behaviorally rooted, is that I will lure my opponent in through dialogue and pre-contact psychology to allow me to shred him. Now, if I wanted to fuck this guy up with a shred, I'm not going to square off. Now, if he shoves me, I don't want to go, hey, fuck you, man, because now I'm forcing outside range combat. What I'm doing is I'm making him go backwards. He's starting to go, oh, fuck, this guy knows something. And so what happens is that as this occurs, he's preparing for a fight. I don't want him to prepare for a fight. The shove that you don't see is the one that hurts the most. So if he shoves me and I go, hey, dude, man, hey, what's up, man? I'm really sorry about that. If I want to shred him now, it's a beautiful thing. He's right there. There's nothing he can do to stop me. I can literally say, keep going with the situation. I'm going to shred you now. There's nothing he can do. I can go preemptive right away. And if he decides to fuck it, I'm going to tackle him or do whatever. If I'm just here, right away. Look where I am. I'm in the shred. Because that's extreme close quarter. And what am I doing here? I'm controlling his head. I'm torquing his back and his neck. I've got my index finger right into his eyeball, and I'm squeezing the air out of him with my pinky fingers in his throat. You can't see it from there probably, but it's right in his throat. And all I got to do is apply this much pressure, and you're going to see pain here. Like, feel that, Lee? Look at that. Look at the wince. I did this. I didn't do more than this. That's all I did. And there's that wince. Because if I just dig really hard now and I decide to be mean about it, oh, it's over. Now the footwork goes, I don't want to remain in his power box. Let me explain the power box concept because it's crucial. Right here, anything that's in front of me directly, if I'm in my stance and I'm facing Lee, he's in my power box, I'm in his. The height of proper strategy is to maintain your opponent in your power box while remaining outside of his. Hence the chest to back position, the moving to the side, the y-axis footwork, so on and so forth. The shred works great that way. I don't want to get into a shred where, tap me, I don't want to get into straight if I'm here and keep shredding forward this way, because his defensive reaction is going to be he's going to be to want to disengage. So he wants to get the fuck away from me now. But I've got to keep momentum forward, pressure. I'm trapping him right now, 2 areas, ear over here and hair over here. If he was bald, I'd have the back of his neck. Now all he wants to do is get away from me, which is it's fine. So he's going to be pushing in, whatever. I maintain distance, I come in, I continue, chest to back. Now as I shred, right, so if I'm ripping into him here, I move, and I move, and I move, and I continue moving, and I don't stop. Now what's going on here is that I'm no longer in the same position. And at the same time I go, oh, look at this, a wall. Blam! I'll hammer his fucking head right into the wall. Why? Because it's there, it's part of the shred. Anything is part of the shred. Be creative. It's a pebble. You've got a weapon on you, shred him with it. Weapons are amazing to shred with. Anything works. It's just entirely up to you. Again, I'm talking about it's the delivery of it. The fact that I'm not cocking back, the fact that I'm not getting into this thing, the fact that I'm not getting into this thing, because all this offers my opponent chances to disengage. Whereas the shred is continuous. And what's amazing about it is almost like a zombie movie for the person, because it almost literally feels like 6 people are ripping you apart. Because 1 second I'm here, and the next second I'm here, and then I'm here, and then I'm over here. And so this guy's got like no idea what's going on anymore, and I'm just hammering his head here, and I'm nailing it with ease. So you see what I'm saying? Never disconnecting. By not disconnecting, he can't get in between my hands and his flesh. That's the beauty of it. So I'm here, I travel, I travel, I travel, I travel, I travel, I travel. I travel, headbutt, push, spit, nail him, rip the ear, claw, elbow, forearm strike. Apply pressure. You want a submission hold? I've got the edge of the blade of my hand here, of my forearm, right in his nose. Squeeze, rip, crunch the throat, right? So at this point, the hands, his protection, can't get in between me and the intended target. And if he thinks he can, it travels way too fast. It's almost like getting stung by 500 bees. You might swap 1 or 2. And look at this. Creativity. His hands are up, I'm shredding. Oh wow, fingers, snap. Part of the shred. Doesn't necessarily tearing the face off. That's the main aspect of it. But I bust his, I'll snap his finger off. I'll hit him here. I'll knee him in the side. Oh, I'll fucking bite him over here. Boom, here's a knee to his head. It doesn't stop. It's the quarter beat that allows it to function. But if I get into the trading blows, and I get into this stuff here, I'm going, fuck, and I'm going to take him down now, and he's doing this stuff here, and I'm trying to nail him, and I need torque, and he's kneeing me, it's not going to happen. I'm trading blows. I might land 50, 60% of them, but during a high-stress adrenal situation, you okay? During a high-stress adrenal situation, he's not going to feel the majority of the blows. If you look at the UFCs, these guys are taking heavy-duty punishment, yet they keep coming back up, and they're getting hit by professional fucking fighters who train 2-3 hours a day. And they're getting hit by guys with timing and torque, so on and so forth. You got to look at it as that the beautiful thing about the shredder also is that it doesn't require the extreme athletic ability that most martial tactics require, right? My mother can do it. Now, a lot of people can argue, but my mother can do it. If, let's say, for example, let's say Lee's on the ground, go down on the ground, and if I'm, if I'm raping him, and I'm going, you motherfucker, and I'm grabbing him by the throat, he can shred me very easily from here. Like, I mean, yes, he's got access to the arm bar, and he's got access to different things, but it's like, why? There's no point in trying to get into all that. The shredder will allow you to get back on your feet quite easily. And you can try it from any and every position. Actually, Lucas, can you come here a second? Now here's where things get interesting. Lucas is 6'2", 220 pounds. He's also an instructor here at Senshido. He's been training with me since 1994. He's also training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he's got a fair enough amount of experience, right? Now it doesn't matter on the size, because I mean, even if I was, let's say, this tall, which would make me what? 4 feet tall? No, even less than that. I can still reach his eyes. And at the same time, so the question is asked is like, big guys, when they attack you. Now, if he wanted to intimidate me and I was this short, look at the posture, look at the body language. This is a lot more intimidating than staying completely straight and erect. And even if he does, well, I've got his fucking dick right in my face. That's a beautiful thing. Well, you know why. Just because I can, because, fuck. But anyway, yeah, I could pop him. Well, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, the whole point is that it doesn't matter of the person's size, because the amount of pressure that needs to be applied when you're shredding somebody is not great. Anybody can do it. And it's the difference between doing this, or doing this, or doing this, or how much actual weight or strength I put behind it. Now, here's what I want you to do is, he's going to go for a takedown. You know, just take me down as hard and as fast as you can. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Single leg, double leg, hip toss, fucking clinch me first, whatever. Now, the second he makes contact, I'll make contact. And at the same time, what I want you to do is don't let me shred you. If you can, stop the shred. Right? Okay, so we're winging it, but fuck it, let's go. So now let's say he's mouthing off, and here's how it's behaviorally rooted. He's mouthing off at me, he's shoving me, and he's talking to me, and he's, you know, and I'm trying to diffuse the situation, and I don't feel, per se, let's say I don't feel it necessary to go preemptive yet, because he's not being overtly aggressive, so I kind of feel that it's still possible to diffuse. But he goes, fuck it, I'm going after this guy, right?
What's your problem? What you looking at, man?
Hey, man, I got no problem. How can I help you?
You got a problem now, man. I'm in your face, so what you...
I'm out of here. You want? I'll leave. Okay? So, okay, fuck. And there's the shit. You okay? Oh, dude, there you go. I already hacked his eyeball. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
I don't even know how I did that. You're... Next. Dude, are you alright?
Yeah, that was good. It was right in my eyes, man.
Oh, fuck.
Let me see this.
So much for simulation.
See this?
He's got a scratch here.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a little bit of blood, don't worry. No, that's cool. That's great.
Live footage from Senshido. Hey, Lucas, come back here a second.
For once you're the one getting hurt, bro. I like it.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
What happened? I don't even, like, did I get you?
As I went down for a takedown, your hands right in my face, right in my eyes. I just...
Well, there you have it.
And then I stopped trying to take you down.
It's like, why did you stop?
Because your hands were right in my face, and I was just trying to get off. I even went to the ground to get away from your hands, because I was on my way down, and then you were in my face, so I was like, you know, get out.
It's an instinctive process, folks. You can't, I mean, this again was sort of simulation. I'm sorry, I don't even know how I did that. I don't even have nails, man. I gotta bite this shit off.
No,
I was laughing. But, look, it's, again, efficiency. It was semi-simulated. Yes, I, scratched under his eyeball, but you can even see that still till now, he's, the eyeball's red. It takes away motivation. If anything, it takes away motivation. Now, he couldn't get to me, because all I'm doing is, can you continue for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, here, take my contacts here.
Are you going to be, like, screwed for...
No.
Okay, I'm not going to shred you hard. I just want to make a point.
Okay.
Is that it doesn't matter. Is that the point is that let's say you're going for a single or double leg takedown. Let's say you're going to go this way for I'm going to give you my leg. Now he's coming in to do the single or double leg takedown. I might end up on the floor. I might not. It depends on how quickly I react and how fast I flinch and if I see it coming or not. Right? Now basically, if my hands are here, now stand up a second. Now basically, if my hands are here, I'm going to have a reflexive response unless I'm a deadbeat, I'm stoned, or I'm fucking just not here. So if I'm talking and Lucas starts to move, reflexively, hands are going to want to do, you're going to flinch one way or another. If you train your reflexive response properly, if you train yourself to tactically move off a flinch, then you're going to attempt to jam, or you're going to be much quicker in binding combative strategy to your defensive mechanism. You can't bypass it. It's millions of years of evolution. I can't, if he did that, this is where most martial artists fails. They think, well, if he goes for me, I'm going to lift my knee up. Fuck, it ain't going to happen. It's been proven 100,000 times over. The thing is that when a stimulus is introduced too quickly, it bypasses the startle to flinch response. And it doesn't bypass, but it triggers the startle to flinch mechanism. And so what happens, the body instinctively tries to do something to protect itself without cognitive interpretation. So the midbrain takes over while the cognitive part of the brain goes out the window. And so all of a sudden he's going for that takedown. I'm going, shit. Now once I'm here, I go, oh yeah, it's a fight. Even if the energy is continuing, my hands go right into his face. Now if my hands go into his face and I gouge an eye out here, automatically it's a defense mechanism. His startle to flinch response has to come in. Because the last thing on earth this person imagined is that as he was trying to do a single leg takedown, this thing would be, you know, a 1/4 inch into his skull protruding through his eyeball. Like it or not, he has to react no matter what. He can't continue the takedown. And even if he does continue the takedown, if he's here and I'm doing this, and we hit the ground here, and I'm continuing the shred, I don't fucking stop. Right? So I'm going to just keep mashing his face off and just keep working that crap over and over again. Drop my knee on him, fucking hit him here, and I'm up. So I don't need to get into the whole thing, because if he's got friends, sorry dude, if he's got friends, I don't want to end up on the ground with him in my guard, regardless of what kind of guard, spider guard, open guard, closed guard, mother guard, fucking the guard, whatever. I don't want to end up there, because I can't take the risk of being in any kind of position on my back, because this guy's 220 and I'm 175. No matter how good I am, especially if he's skilled, it's going to take me a while to reverse him. But if I mash him along the way, there's nothing he can do about it. Okay, you can go put that back. Yeah. Wash that shit off. Thank you. Next. Bring on the meat. Too gentle. I will. I'm sorry. Yeah, go crazy, man. Don't worry about it. So as I was saying, you want to work this stuff. Work your tool and target development skills with it. So get into working this stuff slowly first, because you can't just go shred. You can't just go into somebody's face if you haven't actually trained the mechanics. And this is the thing that irks me so much, is that everyone says, well, anyone can eye gouge, anyone can bite, anyone can spit. Yes, anyone can, but if you don't train it, you're not going to do it. You're going to fight the way you train. It's that simple. It's programming. It's, in my opinion, faulty program to a certain degree. Because if I never, actually, when we work here in my classes, we always work spitting. No matter what. I'm here doing I'll fucking spit in his face. Because I know that's going to get him to do this. It's going to, any normal human being on this planet, you spit in their face, they're not going to go and keep attacking. They're going to want it. They're going to flinch and they're going to instinctively want to wipe it off. If you don't believe me, do it. Just grab a friend, spit in his face, see what happens. So anyway, work it slow. Have your partner, and you can work it from any and every position as long as contact is made. Remember, it's not going to work from here. And this is the deficit. This is where people, oh, it doesn't always work, the shredder. Yeah, you know, if I'm here and I try to shred, yeah, it's not going to work. I'll tell you right now. He's not going to let me, because I got to bridge that gap. I got to enter. I got to clinch. The clinch is a big safety zone for a lot of people right now, especially grapplers, mixed martial artists, no holds barred guys. It's a great place to be. But fuck, man, honestly, the easiest people in the world to shred are grapplers, because they're so close, locking their arms on a part of your limb or your body, trying to take you down or submit you, and my hands are free. Now, instinctively, a lot of people grab on because they don't want to fall. But you just gotta, the more you train it, the more you go, oh yeah, magnetic. I always look at, like, I say this in all my tapes, I always like to look at my opponent's face as a piece of steel or metal, and my hands as magnets. So the second contact is made one way or another, boom, right here. And what happens? Instinct, fuck, get off of me. Because this is really unnerving. Now even this, I'm not really hurting him here, but the palm of my hand, actually the upper part of my hand here where the calluses are pushing into his nose. And that's uncomfortable to say the least. So I'm pushing here. Now all I'm going to do here is I go, okay, well let's actually take it back from the, I'm dying of heat. Let's take it, we're going to take it back from the early portion of the drill. So if he comes in and does, you could do this at medium speed with your training partners. He comes in with something. So I'm talking, anything you want, but like medium speed for now. Okay, so he comes in with something and I go, I got to work this. So I end up here. Now, I like to strike right away. I don't like to get into come in here, jam first, then strike. I don't like to get into, unless I absolutely have to and it's reflexive, I don't like to get into, as he comes in, slip, then trade blows. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's a shorter path. That's all there is. There's a shorter path. So if I'm talking and he swung and I go wham, right away. I jam this hand right away, in. Where I strike will depend on the threat level. You see, if he was here and Nick and Lucas were behind me, you don't have to, but if he had two friends standing behind him, I'm going, hey guys, and this guy swung, well then from here, this hand would go directly into the throat, right away, kill zone, bam, right away. Fuck that, I'm not wasting time, I'm going right into the throat. I might not go directly into the throat because I know that could be potentially lethal. I don't want to kill my opponent. And it depends on the situation. So if he's coming in, I want to work the shred, I'll do this. I'll step in, 1. There's the palm strike. 99% of the time, if I palm him really hard here, that's the fight. Okay? Let's say he's big, strong, got a neck like this. He swings, I'm going, hey, and I jam him here, palm. Here comes the shred. Now I'm going to work it slowly, and what Lee's going to do is he's going to basically react to what I'm doing. Now what's important here, what you might not see on camera, is if we turn around, is I'm maintaining a trap. This to me is a trap. I'm trapping. I'm anchoring. I'm immobilizing one of his limbs. Okay? So I strike here. My hand from here, rather than doing this, rather than doing, well, he's open for a knee, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just close my hand here, dig into his eyes, and rip down. Okay? Now if we turn for the camera so they can see. So now I just rip down. But you notice that when I rip down, my hands don't leave the proximity of his face. So I don't do this. I do this and I stay right here because what I'm doing is I'm still digging. Right? Now from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to palm, strike the side of his face, and at the same time I'm going to establish chest to back. Palm. Okay? Now as I did that, I also scooped him and I maneuvered myself behind him. But look where my hand is. It never leaves the proximity of his face. I still have my fingers in his eyes, across his nose, and right above his mouth here to block any kind of breathing passage, just to disrupt him because I'm an asshole. Okay? So now from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue. This hand over here will come up and maintain the side of his head. What I'm actually doing is trapping it, but at the same time as I brought my hand here, I'm going to palm strike in his ear, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his hair, pull it, right? It's just part of the shred. And what I'm going to do to distract him some more, because there's a lot of activity going on up here, and so the nervous system is really, really concentrated on what's happening up here. There's a lot of damage being done. My legs are going to start to come into play. So from here, if I turn around, so you can see what I'm doing, there's the shred up here. Now I go, oh, fuck him. Boom, here's a knee. Look at his position. But the shred doesn't stop. I maintain. I don't let him turn his face. I grab onto his nose. I'm twisting it completely. And if you turn around, completely uncomfortable position. This hand is crushing the windpipe. Right? Now if I wanted, I can finish this by just doing this and going wham and throwing him to the ground, game over. Or I could bring him to the ground myself and maintain position on him, and I can disconnect and tactically disengage if I have to. I can also boot him in the head one time. I can do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want. You just need to be creative with it and understand that. Keep traveling. And then you could do it from any and every position you want. It makes no difference. Whatever position you're in, right? So Lucas, can you come here a second? So let's say, you okay, dude?
Yeah.
I feel horrible.
No, don't worry about it, man.
If let's say we're on the ground, okay? Now Lucas is mounted on me. Huh?
Okay, just mounted?
Yeah. Now, this is scary shit. Now what I want you to do, Lucas, is ground and pound me. But I want you to, for real.
Okay.
Like, fucking, if you see that you've knocked me out, stop. Okay? If you've busted my nose, I'm bleeding, stop. Okay? But if not, continue. Also, what I'm going to do to you is simulation. So at the same time, yeah, so that we don't have any more accidents.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, this is important. You can't shred unless you have a very solid understanding of grappling and ground fighting. So you need those areas. You can't learn to shred off the mount if you don't know the basics
of grappling, if you don't understand the buck and the roll, if you don't understand the trapping of the leg, if you don't understand the mobility and how to escape and so on and so forth, you need those tools. Without them, the shred becomes obsolete. I can't just shred him from here. You see, a lot of people will go, well, wait before you pound the shit out of me. A lot of people will go, no fucking way he's going to armbar me. It's not going to happen. But what do I need? I need extreme close quarter. So what I need to do is understand grappling is if somebody mounts you, first thing you want to do is you always want to maintain him towards your hips. Use your elbows. Now I'm not going to get into teaching you how to grapple. There's 500,000 fucking tapes out there. Every Brazilian and his grandmother have a tape on grappling. Go find one. I'm not teaching you how to grapple. So from here what I want to do is, if let's say, ground and pound, dude. Armbar me if you want. Okay? So are you okay?
Yeah, that's good.
So all I'm doing here...
I would never have the presence of mind to armbar you after you were in my face like that.
No.
That wasn't really...
So all I'm doing is I'm going feral on him. Now, did you have the chance to ground and pound?
I took a first shot and you jammed it, and then the second one came, and then my body...
Got too close?
Yeah, I think you bucked a little bit. My body
Yeah.
came close to you, and then we were so close I couldn't...
So, recap for a second, is that the ground and pound only has effect if your opponent is here and up here. I'm fucked. I'll be honest with you. Take a beating. Reflexively, hands come up, he starts punching, people start doing this, then they want to turn around, and they're protecting themselves, then the rear naked choke comes in. So, I can't let that happen. Primarily speaking, I can't get mounted. You don't have the luxury to let somebody mount you. It could happen, but we specifically work on a lot of training not to let ourselves get mounted. And we work with a lot of grapplers. A lot of my students are grapplers from other systems. Sambo, catch, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So what I want to do is, I want to maintain myself here, keep him low. He has to ground and pound. He's going to cock. He's going to start to cock reflexively. I'm going to want to defend. My hands come up. I might take a blow. Fuck yeah. But what I need to do is I need to buck him to get him to come down. Because if he ground and pound, if I do this, he needs to do that. Now I just ate a shot. Fuck it. It happens. As this happens, I hug. I've got to hug my opponent. Now he's going to want to throw shots off the side, but as he does this, the shred commences. I'm in here. I'm right here. Fuck. I start to do this. Now you see what I'm also doing to Lucas here is as I'm gouging into his eyes, I grab his nose. It's a beautiful thing because you grab by the nose. You feel this, Lucas?
Yeah.
Okay? Now all I'm going to do is as I buck and roll now, I'm going to crank him by his nose and by his eyes, and at the same time I'm going to be crushing into his windpipe. Now I don't think he's got the sense of spirit to ground and pound any longer or armbar me or whatever, right? Let's turn this way so we can do it this way. Sorry, dude.
No.
So if I'm here, now what I'm doing here is I'm going to buck and roll. Now I'm on top of him here. Now he's pushing me away because he wants none of this. So I'm doing, turn this way. So I'm still here and I'm clawing and tearing into this. As I'm doing this, now reflexively he's pushing me away. He's actually helping me because I need to maintain, I got to get back on my feet. So as I'm clawing and ripping into here, he might be going armbar, but it doesn't matter because the sense of spirit isn't there, and I'm not just going to leave my hand here. And why I understand that the armbar is coming is because I understand grappling. If you don't understand grappling, that's where you get caught in the arm bars. This is where people catch you in submissions because you just don't understand. You don't know where it's coming from. I'm getting the cut signal running out of tape. We're running out of tape. We're going to go switch it, put in another one, continue where we left off. Okay, well, we're back. We just switched tapes. And as I was saying, a couple of things I wanted to mention also that's important is understand that none of this is memorization of technique. Do not turn this into a kata. Do not turn this into a combination. You cannot. You will do your next move based on your opponent's reactions.
Your opponent's attempts at defensive disengagement will create your next move, will create your next opportunity. So what I was doing with Lee earlier and what I'm doing with these guys is that I know I'm explaining 1 and then 2, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this way. Because he might panic. If I go 1, he might end up here. I maintain the trap here, so now the shred continues down here. And then I get into here. So I don't know. Now he's grabbing my hand here, so I can't continue eye gouging and stuff because he plastered my own hand on his face out of reaction. So I'll elbow here. You understand? I'll apply pressure with the elbow here. And I'll go, oh look, as I'm going to go rip into his face, look at his leg and the position and the tactile sense of my leg. I'll knock it off balance this way, and then we end up down here. Now I can't continue the shred from here because, you know, there's a disengagement. But if I wanted to nail him here or whatever, or just move up and, you know, then I revert back to my other tools. It's also always important to remember that you will need to revert back to other tools. The shredder doesn't always happen, and it can't always happen. If your opponent disengages with you, then you're left out here or in there or whatever, and you can't force it by, you know, if I'm here, I can't go, I need to shred, I need, you know, it doesn't work. So don't memorize stuff, don't put it together. There is no XYZ. It's not after every elbow you rake, after every palm strike you crush. No. It all depends. It all depends on his reaction. And this is why the tool and target development drill with partners, and different partners at that, becomes crucial and important, because everybody will offer you a different kind of a reaction. Some people move away, some people clench, some people might want to grab your hands, but some other person might go, you know, if you're not shredding properly, they might still be striking you as you're doing it. There's all kinds. But you've got to experience every single one of these things in order to understand it fully. Now the ghosting footwork that I'm referring to, this is also important, how to move in with the shred. Okay? Now if I'm talking to Lucas, and he starts off, and let's go medium speed. Now he attacks me with something, yeah, anything. So he ends up doing this, okay? Let's turn around so we can show the camera. Now footwork is important because I can't just go shred, 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 shred. I can't do that. So this is where this stuff now, momentum and movement, becomes important. Forward pressure, constant forward pressure is crucial because you need, the person needs to feel that they're being overwhelmed. So they always want to be doing this and backpedaling, trying to push you off and disengage. So you've got to move into your opponent. So as he struck here, and I forearm struck him, I'm going to go in and palm, and I'm going in with my footwork here. Right? So I'm moving forward on my opponent. But at the same time, you've got footwork for single opponents, and then you've got footwork for multiple opponents. If for whatever reason, Lee, come here a second. If for whatever reason, because I'm angled off to his left, Lee starts coming this way, I've got to move my opponent here. But as I do, I continue the shred and I maintain the trap. Now if Lee decides to throw a punch, I'll lift my opponent up. Fuck it, I've got him. Right? I'll just lift him. I'll move him. I'll put him in the way. But I need to understand how to move around somebody. Thanks, Lee. So I got to understand that as I strike, I move. Right? So let's say come in with a different attack. Right? Whatever. So as I'm talking, I end up doing this, and I'm going, oh fuck, so now he's got me here, but look at my hand. It's right in his eyeball. Okay? So now I rip into his eyes. Right? So I go right into his balls here. Now I'm going to use my shin and smash it behind his head just by popping it this way. Okay? Then I'll go, oh fuck, fingers. Because why? He came up. I didn't ask him to do that. Snap the finger here. You okay? Yeah. But as I'm doing all this, I got to start to move. I don't want to end up here. I don't want him to use his legs and kick me. So I will disengage and move this way towards the back. I always like to move towards the back, just the back position, towards the head. Your opponent's on the ground, always go towards the head and his back. Very hard for him to hit me here. Very hard for him to pull out a knife. He can't really kick, can't do much. At the same time, I've been asked this to knees, and continuing shred or disengagement and running. Okay? So maneuver yourself around your partner and understand the power box concept we were talking about earlier. I'm moving here, shred, here, shred, here, 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 here. He's trying to pull me down. I go with it, shred. I don't want to end up locked on the ground. I move, shred, rip his ear off, hammer his head on the floor. Constant movement. Why I refer to it as ghosting footwork is because as it's happening, like we were doing with Lee earlier,
as it's happening really fast, when I was around here, next to the wall, it feels like to him, you're never in the same spot at the same time. So if all of a sudden the person gets a sense of spirit, out of some freaky, whatever reason, he decides to throw a punch, you can't be there. You can't shred in the same position all the time. So always move around the person, and at the same time what you're doing is you're causing constant disorientation and throwing him off balance all the time. So all he wants to do really is get back into balance. So if Lucas grabs my head, and as he's shredding, actually shred me for a second. Okay. As he's shredding, he's doing this. As he's moving, so if I wanted to throw a punch here, I don't even know where he is anymore, because look at me. I'm fucking everywhere. He's playing with me like a rag doll. It's like, I don't even know where he is. But if he stabilizes, then it's like, okay, I know where he is now. Here's his balls. I might retaliate because I'm grounded. So your footwork, your ghosting footwork, should not only be forward momentum and pressure and shifting around, but it should constantly disrupt your opponent's grounding. Now this stuff also comes from boxing. This is your 8-point footwork. You've got to start off the half step here, the circling, the shifting, the moving around, the full step, the shuffling. You need this stuff, okay? On a feral matter, where I say that on its own, the shredder is a magnificent tool for the opponent who completely undermines his victim, right? There's a story I related in the shredder book, and it made it on my forum. A guy stating how a female friend of his was almost raped by a cop. This cop happened to be a trained fighter. You read it in the manual. Guy's trying, she just explained how, and without ever learning a thing for me, it's instinctive, just started to shred and tear away at his face. The guy had mace, the guy had a gun, the guy was a trained fighter, he couldn't do shit to stop it. Because psychologically, he completely undermined his victim. He didn't think that there was anything this person can do. And that's a beautiful thing, because that's perceived vulnerability. And through perceived vulnerability, the shredder is devastating. Women are the most devastating shredders on the planet. Because not only, you say, I hacked up his face and his eye and shit, I don't even have nails. Like if it was Helen who's behind the camera right now, Helen, come here a second. Helen, come here, just 2 seconds.
Don't move.
Okay. This is Helen from behind the camera. She's got fucking nails, something fierce. Now, the one reason I'm not letting actually her do this right now is, and I'm being very honest, is because if you like see their faces, they're all red and puffy and stuff. This is through simulation, and I've got like nubby fingers because I got no nails. If she does it, he'd be like, disfigured, literally, because she'd be ripping shit off the person's face. And she actually did that. There's a 200-pound bouncer who came here one time, and again, I recount this in the manual. That's why I said read the manual. She ripped the guy apart. He just went completely fetal, man. He couldn't believe that a woman could do that to him. And she scarred him for life. He's still scarred till today. He's now a student. Instant believer. Thank you. You look pretty on camera. Right? So you got to work this stuff and incorporate it all, and you got to use all of these tools in conjunction. And with everything I mentioned in the manual about the behavioral aspect and the passive stance and luring the person in and the dialogue and so on and so forth, and apply it with the shredder. Now what we're going to do is, I'm actually going to let the guys perform now, and they're going to work it. Could you toss me a helmet, Lee? You guys put on your helmets and come over here. These are our iTech helmets. We build them here, we put them together. Actually, Helen does, she does a great job at it. You've seen them in most of our tapes, you've seen it on our website. A lot of people have been ordering them. They're a great tool. They're light. They're, it's I think it's 100 Canadian, and we sell them for 130 Canadian or 150 Canadian, 100 US, something like that. Anyway, you can see it on our website, but whatever, I know nothing about costs. I'm just a teacher. But the beautiful thing about it is it's an iTech helmet, it's plexiglass. It's designed by iTech to stop a hockey puck coming at your face at 100 kilometers an hour. And so you can take elbows and you can actually rip in and shred this thing without mutilating your partner or your opponent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some full-out shredding scenarios where the second contact, now you might see in certain of these scenarios that shredding won't be applied. I know it's a shredder tape, but since this is live and dynamic, whatever happens, happens. But we will try to
work on the actual shredder. So we will work on certain attacks that force close quarter range. Okay? So we'll work it out with the dialogue, and we're going to do it through scenario-based. And we're going to do some 2-on-1s, show you how it works against multiple attackers. We're going to do some 1-on-1s. We're going to actually do one where, actually Lee and I did this already, but we'll do it again. Just to show you how this works, is that here, and this is the confidence I have in this stuff, live blade, okay? This is a real knife. It's a pocket knife, something concealable, okay? Doesn't take much to open it. When it's closed, you just pop it open with your thumb, and you've got it, and you can jam it and kill somebody pretty easily, okay? So now a drill that I like to do is put this in your, but we're not going to use the helmet, okay? Now this is a simulation, but watch. Lee, I'm instructing you again. Come at me with something, anything you want.
Yeah.
And once shit happens, I want you to pull out the knife and stab me. For real. Just pull it out and fucking gut me. If you can.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a risk. Let's say for whatever reason you actually pull it out and you stab me, stop. Why, Rich? But you said. No, just if you actually landed something.
Yeah.
Okay?
Go for the throat.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, but then we continue. But watch how the shred works. Is because I believe that once you land the shred, he's never going to have the sense of spirit to even put his hand in his pocket. If he does, great. But he's never going to be able to pull it out. It's just too dynamic. That's going to be a little bit full speed. And I'm going to pull my shots.
Yeah.
So go with it. Anything you want. Start off, tackle, punch, whatever you want. Hey man, what's up?
You got a fucking problem?
I got lots of problems, man. My wife just left me. Okay. You okay? Now there was a slight disconnection there. Where's the knife?
Dude, I didn't even think about it.
See, this is interesting. I'm not sure what happened, but what went on? It's important to understand this also from a three-dimensional perspective, from the opponent's perspective as well as yours. What went through? What's going on in your head?
Well, I went for the first shot, you blocked it, and then went right in my face. And I was pretty much went fetal after that. For a second, I thought about it, and then something else happened, distracted me.
Yeah.
Forget it. I was on the ground by that time. And end of story.
Now, again, the beautiful thing about that is that's simulation. I always say that it's simulation. You see he's intact. I've shredded in a real fight. It's not pretty. If you've seen the logo on the book, that's pretty much what happens. It's disfiguring. You literally rip shit off the person. It's horrible to look at. But the person is mauled. Just the littlest, slightest thing, come here a second, Lucas. Just the slightest mistake leaves you like that, where his eye is swollen, there's a cut under it, and that's just simulation that kind of went wrong for a fraction of a second. You can imagine if the entire maul continued. It's fearful to look at. So just to give you an idea, again, is that we've done these drills several times with several different people, live, full out. Now the shredder has also been applied against grapplers. A good friend of mine is Ian Hodgkinson. He's a professional wrestler. A lot of people think because he's a professional wrestler, he's not for real. He's very much for real. He's actually one of the people I would never want to fuck with in a real fight. He's 6'3" or 6'2", 265 pounds. He's just a monster. It's not that so much that he's huge, but he's strong like you wouldn't believe. Professional wrestler, trained catch as catch can, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Greco-Roman for over 16 years. He came in and he went into the Montreal Open or Canadian Open Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. He won the heavyweight division, got first place. We were doing drills with him in the ring, and he couldn't do shit when I shredded him. The second he came in, and I'm like, imagine 6'3", he's 6'2", 220. Imagine an inch taller and 45 pounds heavier, and just a monster of a man. Just almost impossible to be taken down. And when we did hit the ground, I got up on my feet in a second because it was mauling time. So you got to look at that and you got to go, wow. Doesn't matter who you're facing. Grappler, street fighter. If your opponent perceives you as a victim, even on a behavior level, it's even that much easier. So let's get on with this stuff. Now what they're going to be doing is they're going to be simulating, and they're going to be working with the helmets. So they're actually going to be shredding full force, and the person with the helmet is going to be reacting to the strikes as if they were actually happening the way they perceived it would if this, you know, understand? Now everybody here has been shredded right now without the helmets through simulation, so they have a good idea that if the extra pressure was there, what would happen. Let's give it a shot, guys. We'll start off with, hey, fuck it, let's have fun. Let's do a 2-on-1. So both of you attack Lucas. And let's see what happens.
Going with dialogue in the works.
Yeah, get in the dialogue, get in the works, pick on one. If you feel you need to go preemptive, Lucas, go preemptive. Fuck it. You do what you got to do. Now let's do it.
Hey, Rich,
Follow them as best as you can.
I was actually looking at the ground, man.
Yeah, you looking at the ground, huh, bitch?
Yeah, man.
I got a fucking problem, man.
I don't have any
I'll go,
problem,
my
man.
friend, bitch, huh?
Well,
Beautiful. Good job. Now you took one punch to the head from, I believe it was Nick.
from Lee, I think,
From Lee.
over Nick.
Well, you over Nick. It happens. You're going to get hit. 2-on-1, 3-on-1, you're going to get hit. But how hard, doesn't matter. I mean, you probably wouldn't even have felt that due to the adrenaline. But there you go. I mean, what happened? How did you guys feel?
Feeling right now.
Now, it doesn't matter also, you know, because Lucas is bigger and stronger. We're going to do another one. Now, you and Lee attack Nick.
This the fucking guy?
That's the guy, man.
Well, what's the problem, guys?
Who are you like?
Beautiful. That
As soon as I said this is the guy, I knew they were gonna
Oh
jump.
yeah, fucking yeah.
I
Beautiful.
didn't think
He went preemptive, double strike both of them, shredded both like a champ. Excellent. Now guys, did you see any of the stuff coming?
No,
No,
I didn't
not the
expect
first
it that
strike.
early.
It's just as soon as they told me this is the guy, I just...
You felt, yeah, absolutely.
That was a bit too-
You got it. Multiple attackers, I always say, in a multiple attacker situation, 99.9% of the time you have to go preemptive. Because even if you feel, like, if these three guys were attacking me, even if he's the leader and he's mouthing off, even if I feel that I'm capable of diffusing him and that he's calming down, I don't know about these guys. Because this guy might be a mouth and going, fuck this, I don't care, I'm still going to jump. You can't take the chance. This guy could be the nicest guy in the world, he may not want to fight, but these guys might be his friends jumping up behind him. I'm dropping him, fuck him, I'm not taking the risk. I got to go preemptive. I'll take them down hard and fast. And when we're doing multiple attackers, you have to go for vital targets. You got to go throat, you got to go eyes. He went directly into the face. I might have wanted to go, you know, a web thumb strike into the throat, whatever it takes, but you got to survive. You got to go preemptive. It's almost impossible to diffuse a 3-on-1 because you never know what the other people are thinking or what they're going to do. And also it's hard to see because if, you know, let's say we're all three of us are attacking Lucas, I might be a son of a bitch and I might be carrying a knife that he might not see. So I might be actually palming this thing and he doesn't know I have it, and they're talking to him, I'm thinking, fuck this, because I'm drunk, and I'm just maneuvering myself behind him, and he might be, you know, he might have diffused it, or I might go, fuck this, or I might just start nailing him. So you can't take that risk, you can't take that chance. If you got a hyper son of a bitch in a group, take them all out. You don't have a choice. Or if you can, run, but running sometimes isn't an option. Let's do it, you two on Lee.
Hey, bitch, got any money on you?
Oh, man. Yeah,
Give me your fucking money.
Beautiful break. Now that was an excellent example of the ghosting footwork. Moving around, maintaining one guy as a shield, shredding him, turning around. Barely, who is it that you put? I don't even know who you put down.
Me.
Yeah, took Lucas
You took Lucas down. You couldn't even get to him. It's like almost, you know, and that's the whole idea of the shield concept. Excellent work. Let's look at it from a grappling perspective. So what I'm going to have is I'm going to have you just take Nick down, okay? And just, you know, what I want, your goal, take him down, submit him, or ground and pound him, or fucking whatever. Just take him down and finish him off, okay? Just go for it, okay? Now, Nick, what I want you to do is do whatever you have to do to survive. But actually, you know what? Just for the audience perspective, I'm going to ask him, let him take you down. Actually hit the floor and go from there, okay? You can start the shred standing up if you want, but go from there.
Okay.
Break. Good. It's enough. It would have been dead.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, it even entered, what kind of takedown were you going for?
Just a sweep?
It's just it intercepted almost instantly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent. Let's look at it from an actual ground fighting perspective. Let's have Nick on top of Lee.
Ground and pound?
Yeah.
Ready?
Go. Excellent. Now what you're actually hearing is Lee simulating biting into his stomach and into around his chest area as he was doing it. Now the only thing he got was one strike and one strike only, and it was even half-assed. So always try, from whatever position you end up in, to establish that close quarter situation. If not, rely on your other skills to maintain it or to get it. Let's do some knife stuff. Okay, let's have Lee with the knife. Let's have Nick empty-handed. Just go after him. Take the knife out and, yep. That's a good idea. There's the jam. There's the shred. Beautiful job. Excellent. Great stuff. I think you got cut maybe once
Once I felt
across here.
one over here.
Got accepted, got expected, got accepted. It's a knife fight, but it ain't fatal, it ain't lethal. Good energy too. You fucking nice stuff. Drops the knife. Should've,
As soon as I said, fuck
fuck
it,
it.
I'm not
You're
ready.
charging. Good stuff. Nice timing. Good stuff. Here's the knife. Go after Lucas.
Oh, fuck. What's up, bitch? You got a fucking problem, huh? No, man. I'm gonna fucking cut you up, ho? Oh, fuck it.
Nice trap. You didn't trap at all. There. There's the shred.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
I never had it.
No,
Even if I wanted to.
and this is, again, it's no consent, full out. There's no bullshit. He's not trying not to. He's actually, you're coming at him, and you just got to do what you got to do. Obviously, there are knife fighting principles involved. There's a lot of principles that involved that are enveloped around it. The shredder is a piece of the puzzle. It is not the puzzle. Like I said, it ain't the end all and be all, but it is a devastating close quarter tool that works, and there's no two ways about it, and it works damn well. I mean, once it's in, there's no stopping it, providing it's in properly. There's another reality-based instructor was stating that he was training with one of our video students who picked up our one of our tapes, and he said that our video student tried to do the shredder, but he beat him to the punch. Absolutely, I 100% agree. You'll beat him to the punch because you can't try to do the shredder, and you cannot apply the shredder from an exterior source. This is something I stated, and some people started criticizing or whatever, is that I state that unless you've actually experienced the shredder firsthand by somebody who knows what they're doing, meaning either myself, one of my representatives, or my longtime students, it's hard to understand it unless you actually study the material, the tape, this particular tape, the manual, fundamentally grasp it and understand it for what it is. It's hard to explain such a concept to somebody. It's hard to say, well, it's ripping into the guy's face and eye gouging and headbutting. And well, that's Chin Na or China or whatever. Or that's ego claw, shurin, furi, fuyu, udu. Whatever, fuck. I mean, it's not. There's it's behaviorally linked and rooted. It's how do I actually get there? It's the delivery system behind it. Forget the actual physical tactic because it doesn't matter. The physical tactic is incidental. Whatever happens, happens. You just do what you got to do. The technical applications of the shredder is gross motor skill oriented. And this is also what makes it very devastating, is that it doesn't require years and years of practice once you understand it. But it's in applying the actual move. It's in understanding the 5 principles of physical retaliation, the psychology behind it, what it actually does to your opponent. And that's the important factor. And there are 3 things that are never, ever present in a street fight that are forever present in a sparring fight, in a mixed martial art fight, in a no-holds-barred, whatever, in a sporting event. Consent, awareness, and preparation. Those 3 things do not exist in real life. Your opponent is never going to send you a letter saying he's going to attack you. He's never going to tell you what day. You're not going to have keen awareness. You will not prepare for it 3, 4, 5 days, 6 days, a month in advance. And so violence occurs out of the blue. And so you got to be able to go from 0 to 100 in like a fraction of a second, and it's the mindset that requires you to do that, not so much this stuff here. I mean, although this stuff is important and crucial and part of the arsenal, that's not the end all and be all. So anyway, I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to say about this. I really hope you enjoyed the statement. I hope you fundamentally understood what it is that we were trying to accomplish with it, and I really hope you read the manual before you viewed it, because there's a lot of important, crucial elements in there that are tied into this. So questions, comments, criticisms, feel free to contact us, email us, come on our online forum, ask, not a problem. And have yourself good and safe training, and that's it. Guys, thank you very much for getting shredded for me. If there's anything you'd like to add, feel free to do so. Okay, cool. Have a wonderful rest of life.